is the XR Motion Podcast with your host, Michael Steinberg.
Welcome to the XR Motion Podcast, where we talk about what's coming down the line in the motion design industry, and where we also focus and talk about what's cool in the VR, AR, XR, and metaverse, which we're still figuring out what that is, type things, and all of those other stuff and what's happening. So, guys, today we've got a very exciting episode. We've got Konstantin Kostya. Is that right?
Konstantin? Yeah, you did it. Hey, everyone.
I'm so glad I got that right. And guys, he's just a phenomenal artist. I'm so happy to have him on. Found him on Instagram, which you guys got to check out his work. It's El Crudyo, which it's spelled ELCRUD0. And gotta look it up, because I'm telling you, you're gonna want to see his stuff before we start going here, because it is just awesome. You can also look up at Rocket Renders, which might be a little bit easier if you're just going off your head here. Some of his amazing work is on there as well. You're gonna be blown away. It's really cool. We found you on Instagram, and that's how good your work was. I had to reach out, man.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me. Thank you for that warm introduction. I appreciate the kind words. I'm all open to share the information.
I've got a lot of questions, so I'm excited to jump on in this. First off, just going over a little bit about yourself. What exactly would you say you do?
I would say that I'm a 3D enthusiast, let's say. Because right now, most of my income I do with my regular job, and 3D is some sort of a grind for me, because some time ago I decided that I need a valuable skills, like something which I can do, still enjoy and make money. 3D sounds like the thing I was looking for. So I started grinding, but it came in steps, let's say. First was a strange experience for me, but it was mind-opening experience. As a kid who grew up in post-USSR Russia, I dealt with like a bit of closed society with not a lot of information, with not a lot of going on, and without an international exchange of ideas and thoughts. So during the university, there's a program in United States called Work and Travel.
Okay.
I never got into it because my grades were bad as hell. So
same here. Wasn't great at school.
I decided that I still need to get to United States. If people enjoy it so much, I should check it out. So I got my international passport. It's a different thing in Russia. And I stack up some money, and I traveled to New York and Boston. And I didn't know that New York was so cool. I saw all those places, like everything. As a hip hop person,
yeah.
New York is a mecca for me.
Right.
Like we were just walking by, and like my friend Tyler was like, "Hey man, look, this is a Biggie's place. Like that's where Biggie lived." And I was, "Oh, can I touch it, please?" Like, because and I saw that United States is a different kind of thing, but mostly because of the people, mostly because of the way of people communicate, because of how open people to each other, different ideas in society, and so on. Like people are still the same, but different, but the same. I got a lot of friends in there, and I decided that, man, United States is a way to go. Or like I was thinking it then, still thinking it now. And I got back to Russia, and during one of the tattoo sessions with my tattoo artist, I told him that, look, man, it's pretty real to get into States. We can get visas, we can get all this stuff. It can be interesting, and for Russians, it's more than like adventure. It's not a tourism. It's one in a life experience to go to States. So it's more like an adventure. So we decided that we want to go there to achieve something, not just go, but to achieve something. And we prepared the tattoo sleeve on me, and I gone there as a model, and my tattoo artist Oleg, he went as an artist. We've been to several tattoo conventions, and we won 6 of them, like 6.
Wow.
6 in New York, 2 in California, with all the tattoos which are on me, and I was like walking portfolio for Oleg.
That's got to be awesome.
Yeah, a lot of pain, but it is a lot of attention and pain, I would say.
At least you get some awesome work off of it too.
Yeah, and most of it for free.
That's like a win-win. You get some free national winning tattoos while being able to travel across seas. That's that's kind of a little dream right there in itself. That's awesome.
I was like 25 maybe, and right now I'm 33. So it was like my first trip to US was about 10 years ago, maybe less.
And how long were you here for that first trip, you said?
About a month.
So you got a good little taste of New York.
Yeah, I lived in Crown Heights and then in Bushwick.
So you visited and then you wound up moving here, right? Or
No, I didn't. I didn't.
okay, so you just visited during the 1 month you were in Crown Heights and then Bushwick.
Yeah, my first two trips were short, and the third one, I decided that, man, look, I have to make a statement. I will try to move there. Even though I'm still kind of a kid, like 24, 25, I will try to move. So I quit my job and I made a lot of attempts. I won't go into details, but I made some attempts to do so and I didn't succeed. But I gained a valuable lesson. All that time, Oleg was with me, and his skill was a key to open a lot of doors. Such doors which money couldn't open. He communicated with artists, he communicated with musicians and famous people. They paid him for his skill. We talked to Burial from Cypress Hill. We found out that he's a fan of Oleg's work. We decided then that when we will be in California for Golden State Tattoo Expo, we're gonna visit Burial's office to tattoo him. And that one day, then when we were there, Burial was at Cannabis Cup, so he couldn't join. But he invited us, and we were at the event. It was nice. And from all those trips, I gained a lesson that I cannot go around grinding. I cannot live an easy life of it's gonna happen to me. Someday I will be rich, someday I will everything will come by itself. No. I saw an example of a person who with his mind, his hands and putting in a lot of work, like he opened a lot of doors in front of him, let's say. And after I realized that this is possible, I returned to Rostov. I lived some time in Moscow, but Rostov is my home location. Home location supports you. It's kind of easier when you.
Always. It's comfortable.
And I returned to my home location. I rented a flat for this flat exactly, and I stayed in it for 5 years. It is, I would say, from the inside, it looks like solitary confinement, voluntarily.
It looks comfortable. You got wood. Wood walls, man. I love it.
It's not wood. It's a red. How you call it? They are painted red. No, it's a.
Oh.
uh,
Okay.
like here, I have internet. I have everything I need to comfortably stay and learn skill. So I decided that I was fortunate enough to play all the video games while the graphics was still developing. I started in 2D, like Fallout 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and so on. And from that I moved to 3D graphics. And with my eyes, I saw how 3D graphics evolved. So it was easier for me to understand it. I was already part of it. So yeah, from that moment, a lot of realization came that I need to read a lot and I need to grind a skill.
I feel like grinding in this industry is just so important. I've said it before, but 90% of it is obviously just doing it.
Yeah.
My dad always used to say this. I think it's kind of a popular phrase, but success is when preparation meets opportunity.
True that.
But you gotta be prepared.
Yeah, you gotta be ready, yeah.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about just connections too. I mean, doing things like this, going to meetups, which we throw in New York last Tuesday of every month. Little promo plug right there. And Sunday on VR chat. but but yeah, I'm doing those things. Like I can't even say I feel like I say this every podcast, but so many jobs I've gotten aren't from just clients looking me up online. It's from meeting friends or other acquaintances who go, oh, dude, I actually can't do this project. Do you want it? And then I'm like, oh, well, sure, cool, man.
If it comes to regular jobs, I got all of my jobs through network of friends.
Exactly.
Someone knew me, someone said, look, you might be a right person, and so on. Like each of them.
Pretty much the same, to be honest. Besides my very first one and some of the very first stuff I did from school, which I was even still networking, I guess. But yeah, it's crazy how it works. So I love the life. I'm kind of really curious too, just what the art scene is like in Russia. But first, before we get there, I just kind of want to even ask about the work you do. You're bringing these robotic and or surreal type of items and things into reality and doing a bit of, I don't even know if it's rotoscoping, but you're doing motion tracking and it just looks so cool, man.
Thank you.
I saw the one with the lobster, I think was the most recent one, like a huge lobster coming down a building. I love that. And then your robot stuff, I'm a robot geek, man. Love that stuff. It looks so cool. So what is your process for making these things happen? Are you using Cinema 4D or what kind of programs are you using?
First, the idea was with me even before all that tattoo life happened. You played online games, right? You did.
Unfortunately, a lot. Yeah.
Maybe fortunately.
A little too much. That's all I'll say.
So during the times of World of Warcraft, I didn't have money for World of Warcraft because it was like you still had to pay for it, but Russian currency is shit. Ruble doesn't cost anything. So we had to play free games, but still we wanted a massive multiplayer. So we played Lineage 2, if you heard of it.
Lineage 2. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there's a class called Summoner. I guess there's a lot of summoners in different games, but in this particular one, there was an animation when some sort of pentagram or some sign appears on the ground and creature appears from it. And I wanted to do this. I said, look, why can't I become a summoner in reality? This is insane. We have all the technology.
Right.
At that time, I didn't have even a camera on my phone. I didn't have that. My first try was on an old laptop. I watched a lot of Andrew Kramer's tutorials, and I tried to track a plane with Cinema 4D, like standard tracking algorithm, and I put a small gun on top of my table. There was no shadow, there was nothing, and the tracking was horrible, but I did it. And the idea that it is possible was in my mind, and it's still there. It was planted in that time. But as a teenager, growing up in a hard society, I had to get all the equipment from the way I could, let's say, the way I could. At that moment, After Effects was too heavy for my laptop because of the real-time rendering. You still have to do it. And I switched to Maya because the viewport in Maya is separate from rendering engine. I decided, look, if Cinema 4D is kinda easier for that task, but I can do it, I still have to do it, but with different approach, with different tools. So I started to recreate the standard tool set which is inside of the After Effects plus Cinema 4D with Maya and some of the tracking software. So right now, my pipeline is following. At first, we need an idea. Mostly it's something which appears like the 3D model inserted into a real environment with realistic shadow and lighting. At first, I didn't have skills of character creation at all. So only hard surface modeling. So I started from hard surface and went into robots eventually. If we go through the pipeline step by step, I do the following. I shoot videos with my camera, regular Canon 70D, nothing special. I track those with Bajou or PF-Track. Those are professional tools and you regularly don't have fresh versions of those for free. And this is hard to admit, this is hard to say because people usually don't say, but I pirated all the software. I pirated it all. I didn't buy anything. When I will start to make money with it, will be grateful to those people who created software for me. But in the past, when you still have to live on some money, you will pirate software.
Oh, 100%, man. And I feel like that's why a lot of these, you're seeing things like Unity is free. You're saying even, I think Unreal became free. Like it wasn't free. And I forget there was another big program that decided to go free until you get to a certain point, which I just think it's so great because they know everyone's pirating it. Like,
Yes.
they have to know. So why are you going to get the little guy in trouble? Because, yeah, with Adobe, I happily pay for it now. Granted, I'm getting a little frustrated currently with them, but for years, I would never have gotten to a point where I would pay for it if I wasn't allowed to experiment with it for so many years.
Yeah, you gain a skill. There's a student version of Maya, but for some reason I decided not to use it. I'm not a student. After that, after I track the scene, I transfer it all to Maya, and there's a soft camera, and the whole scene is in front of me. If you try to imagine it, there's a plane and a camera, and the scene is somewhere in between. And I insert an object between a camera and image sequence, which is a background for a camera. And camera always sees the image sequence because it's kind of stuck to a movement of the camera.
Right, right.
And after that, after I import tracked scene into Maya, I start blocking up the scene, the additional objects which have to be in a scene. Mostly I use robots. Some of them I created myself. Some of them are from Sketchfab and retweaked models from Sketchfab. Because even though there are still some good bases, you need to adjust them for your own project. I use Arnold Renderer as a main engine. I color everything in Substance Painter, which is a standard right now, as far as I know.
Oh, totally.
So in this whole insertion of 3D models into real video, I gained that skill while I was going for kinda another skill. I set myself a goal of making those hardcore cinematics which I saw in games. World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, League of Legends. You saw what League of Legends did?
Right.
I'm a grown person and they make me cry, literally. So a lot of games have cinematics which are not made by the original studio which made the game. So I decided that having a studio which makes cinematics only, not the game, but cinematics, is a nice opportunity because the market of cinematic production is not overcrowded. So from that point, I started to learn character rigging, character animation, and right now I'm in a sweet spot of 70% of getting my portfolio done for character animation. I gathered a team around me. First, I need to tell you about the situation maybe with art in Russia, because it's a kind of strange thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super curious about what it's like there and what the inspirations you get. Because yeah, it sounds like so your like basic workflow right now for making these is you come up with the concept, you see what models you've got available, and then you're using Maya, and then yeah, Substance Painter is awesome. I'm still new at that. And then I guess do you do your final compositing still in Maya? Do you just render
Yeah.
straight from there?
Yeah.
Wow, those are some great results coming directly out of there.
Thank you. I didn't have a chance to work in any other software, maybe in Unreal Engine. I did some VR projects for myself with Unreal. I'm gonna talk about that later. So, if it comes to Russia, the situation is strange. We have some sort of Tsar for king, owner of Russia for the last 20 years. Yeah, for the last 20 years. And we have a bunch of laws which can put artists to jail. There's a law about non-harassment of religious feelings of people. So a religious person can sue you for doing something even closely religious related. True, and you can go like literally to jail for a joke about God, for any caricature. The system is corrupt. Wrong people are getting power with this sort of laws. So we, as artists, First, we have to stay true. If we don't speak the truth, what the fuck? What kind of artists are we? Right? We have to speak the truth. Like when I started to deconstruct all the art which people were doing in USSR and in later Russia, even though the regime was hardcore, people still found ways to criticize it through art. People still were trying to find the ways to get new ideas to kids, get new ideas to the ones who are willing to listen. I was lucky enough that when I was a kid, a lot of Western movies and Western media came to Russia after the fall of the how do you call it, Iron Gate. I don't know. Like there was a Cold War and none information got through. Like the thing which is going on right now with North Korea. In North Korea, they have a separate internet and none of the information is going inside and out. The regime is blocking them and they are media blocked. So in early 90s, we were lucky enough to get all the Star Wars, Terminators, and so on. Later it was more not a hooligan movies, but how you call movies which are picking on something that are messing with some like
Oh, like slapstick kind of, like
yeah,
just
there were movies. There were movies which messed with the religion. I mean, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob, and
oh,
so on.
like sacrilegious kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
kind of. And in Russia, we don't have those. And those showed us that look, there are still people with free minds. There are still people who do pure art which can criticize the regime, the system, and so on. So, in Russia, a lot of artists are trapped in this situation when they have to speak up their mind, but they have to do it the way in which government will not put them in jail for life.
So wild to me. That's so wild.
After that conversation, I appreciate your freedom, man.
It's something sometimes like you don't even know you're privileged to have. So are artists still kind of persecuted? Does it feel like it's getting more free at all? Or has it just always been kind of stagnant, same laws, same rules, or
It's getting better. Internet is freeing us up. Our government tried to fight internet, tried, but they lost. They tried to block Telegram, and Pavel Durov is the person who said, "Look, okay, you can try to block it, but we will find a way to make people communicate." And the Telegram is still alive. So that showed us that all right, we can. People still have their voice on the internet.
so are there any like controversial Russian pieces that are out right now? Not to get off track, I'm like I've never really heard about the Russian culture and the art scene, so I'm just curious about that.
I won't say any names right now. We have a huge pop culture, but it's mostly governed by owners of the tele shows. So the people are censored a lot on TV and so on. On the internet, we have a law that you can't write bullshit about government because you can get sued for your comments in social media.
So definitely no anti-government art.
No, nothing, nothing.
That was all everyone did for our last election. That
Yeah,
was every artist just made anti-government
yeah.
posts.
I saw a lot of Trump 3Ds and so on. Yeah. And for me, that skill opens a lot of opportunities because the skill is not a business. I own it. It's in me. I am my skill. It's in my head. Like you cannot separate me from my skill. And this gives some sort of safe feeling that this is something solid. This my skill. If I grind it to the master level, if I put in 10,000 hours, if I achieve something worthwhile, if I do something which I can be proud of, this cannot be separated from me. So yeah, at this point, there are some artists who are following the mainstream, who are trying to fill those needs which are created by huge Russian YouTube communities, Russian half TV, half YouTube, and so on. But for me, this is some sort of a dirty game. I don't want to stick into it. You know, when it's not a pure art, it is some sort of media. So there's a lot of artists who are just staying home sharing their works with the internet, teaming up with different artists who can join one pipeline, one line of work. And yeah, we're moving here with small teams. Oh, one moment, I maybe have someone to tell you about. There's a team in Russia called Birch Punk.
Birch bunk.
Birch Punk. They created a cyber farm. This is a kind of what I do, but on a different level because they are a group of professionals. And I remember about them right now when I was talking to you. They made a series of videos about cyberpunk farm. There are a lot of robots and cyberpunk related stuff on a farm. And the project is totally independent, no commercial, no nothing. So they did a good job. I'm proud of those guys.
Yeah, I just like looked up a tiny little video. Their stuff looks amazing. But yeah, so like what is also the motion design community up there? Do you guys do meetups up there at all or
No. Personally, I saw zero people from 3D community. We are all scattered up and across the country. The country is huge. Most of the people are in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. I'm in Rostov on South. I live in a region. We had a war 2, 3 years ago with Ukraine. Like I live in a region which was in a war state like 3 years ago.
wow.
For us, it was just a lot of military, a lot of mercenaries coming through city. We had to meet our ladies in the evening and so on, like just a bit of more of caution. But people on the border, they heard shots, they saw explosions and so on. But on the Ukrainian side, it's a nightmare. We are in the Russian side, and I know that Russia here was some sort of aggressor, so we didn't feel it that much. But on Ukrainian side, oh my god, every topic, like, sorry for doing this, but every topic ends up in some dark shit.
I mean, it's a unique experience, and I mean, if you're there, you're there.
This is insane, but I try to travel, but people always tell me like, man, you're Russian, you Russians are different, and you are an example of a Russian person. And I can say that. You know who David Goggins is?
That name sounds super familiar.
It's a military guy from Joe Rogan Experience. He's like stay hard, and he's like always running and so on, grinding.
Okay, yeah.
He shows this mentality to a world to learn. But here in Russia, we were born in it. We were like raised in this mentality. You cannot not grind. You have to from your birth. And right now, when I secured myself some of the free time, some of the effort which I don't have to spend to working on other people for pennies, not pennies but pennies.
Right.
I secured myself some time, and I as a person cannot sit still. I wake up in the morning, I have to do something. I have to grind. There's no watching movies or playing games in the morning. I wake up at 7, 8 a.m. and till 5 p.m. I'm doing my stuff. When I can't, I let myself rest. But if I still can, I will try to, because the window of opportunities is closing. There's a lot of examples of people who didn't come to where I'm at right now. I have to use my opportunities, I don't know, to travel the world, to find a great studio to work at. I have to apply those skills I gained, because why did I do it if I will not do that?
Thankfully, with the grind and hustle, man, it makes it easier and easier to get any opportunity you want. And what's nice too is the more you grind and hustle, the more you get to choose what you want to do and where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I feel like this field is one of the most rewarding things ever. I mean, it's definitely something where you have to work extremely hard, but it's just one of those things where it's rewarding in the fact that you get to see your talent get better and better each day. And it's not like if you do a dailies for an entire year, you're not going to be like, I don't know if I got any better.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to be like, wow, I sucked last year compared to now. It's such a cool field to be in.
And for me, this was one more huge realization. I'm a tall, skinny guy. And when I was a kid, I was bullied a lot. Before that, I wasn't good at anything. I wasn't good at sports. I wasn't good at computer games, even though I played my whole life. But on a competitor gaming, I wasn't good. And when my first 3D actual quality works appeared, people started to let me know that, look, man, you have some talent. Look, man, you can do something. I don't think right now I have a talent because look, I have a bracelet which I wear. It's some sort of a power bracelet, and on the back side it's written, "Nobody's talented, work harder." So, I'm not talented, I just work a lot. And this realization, by doing 3D, I showed myself that I can literally do something which other people can't. Because when my first videos appeared on the net, a lot of people asked me, "Hey man, how you did it? How you did it?" And there wasn't a question for me to hide or not this information about how I did it. I can tell you all the programs which I used. I can show you those programs. I can spend my time to show you how I did it. But there's not a lot of people who can work every day for 5 years to master those programs.
It is a grind, man. Yeah. I can't agree with you more on the fact that it's just one of those things where you just got to work so hard to get it. I guess I kind of feel the same as you. Like, I wasn't really great at school, never was great at sports, never, but this was just something where you just keep going at it, you keep grinding it. And it kind of honestly blows my mind a little bit that I see some people that are extremely talented, especially artistically. And I think, like, oh, they should really just jump into this field, but some of them are just like, man, I cannot work all day, hours upon hours in the
Yeah, sitting is not in front of a computer is not my thing. I heard it so many times.
yeah, that's what I've heard other people say too, is exactly what you said. Is some people have literally told me, like, your talent is being able to not stop. You can just keep going all day every day without burning out. It's like, I
Uh,
don't know.
Riza from Wu-Tang Clan taught me this. Oh, by the way, this book I definitely recommend everyone to read it. Tao of Wu, wrote by Riza from Wu-Tang Clan, and he made a metaphor for training in art as training in Shaolin Temple. He said, like, look, we're here not to show one time that we are great and that's it. We're here to train one killing punch a million times before it gets deadly. So here I am training my 3D. My 3D is my sword. It's in my hand and it's sharp as fuck. Come test me.
Love that. I feel like that was a commercial for the book. I gotta read that. So let's go into this next subject that I'm curious about. So I noticed that you've been doing a little bit of Unreal Engine, which you even mentioned yourself.
Mhm.
What is your view on virtual reality in the future and maybe just AR or the metaverse? Because it's a pretty hot topic right now.
Let's start from Unreal Engine. I will tell you a bit more about my projects. First, when I started hard surface modeling and realistic painting in Substance Painter, I decided, look, I need to showcase my work somewhere. And just showing them in Instagram, flying around, it's not that interesting. And at that time, I bought my VR helmet, which is Rift S, and I decided, okay, I have everything I need to try making a VR app. Even though at that time there was not a lot of those, but I decided, why not? I downloaded Unreal Engine and there was a pre-built template for VR. I changed it for myself, imported a lot of. Main thing I did is a handmade weapons. A gun, old school flint pistol, axe from God of War, and I imported those into my project. I built a location and I like just was messing around with those, breaking things. And I decided, look, I feel comfortable in this environment. This environment which I built for myself, I'm inside of my imagination right now. Look, I imagined it and right now I created it and in reality I'm inside of my imagination. How cool is that? So I decided that I need to make a network VR application, which I'm working on right now. Not a lot to be shown right now, but it's coming up. Network is multiplayer and other people in your 3D environment is a key. A lot of people felt that during the pandemic, because we were locked all by ourselves, and it would be nice to have a person nearby, right? And here we come to a metaverse because a lot of people will join metaverse. But listen to Keanu Reeves. We don't want our main VR world to be made by Facebook.
Exactly. Right?
So I don't know. When it comes to metaverse, for me, I see a lot of opportunities, but I don't want to give those into a bad hands. So at the top of my lungs, I shout, people, build your own applications and let's link them up into some sort of network. Because if we give all the interesting ideas to Facebook for money, they're gonna own us. If you have an interesting idea, go to Patreon, collect some money, build it up, don't sell it right away.
Yeah, I find it super interesting with Facebook, and I'm hoping like that there is a turn somewhere with the metaverse. And I use both the Index and I use the Quest, and just kind of experience how different applications run in both headsets. And I think I've come to this new realization recently because PlayStation VR 2 has just entered the game. So I'm hoping what we're going to see is that Facebook, which they have talked about this being a primary goal, is getting everybody into the metaverse, is they are going to focus more on getting into a user-friendly, simplistic universe. And then what we're going to see, because it's a $300 standalone headset, that's what they're building for. They're building these things for essentially cell phones, when really there's a whole market of people out there that are ready, that have gaming consoles, they have PCs, they have awesome laptops. So I'm hoping with PlayStation coming into the market, you're looking at millions of people now that are going to be joining VR for the first time with high caliber powered machines.
True.
So that kind of made me realize just this week after that announcement that maybe we're actually going to see Facebook do its own thing, while this whole other high tier market, where Facebook isn't even considered the high tier market, they're going to be considered like a lower tier market. And a lot more money is going to go into this high quality experience and more immersive gameplay or just reality. So I'm hoping that that happens and there is that split in the road where we're not all going to Facebook and with the Valve Index and these other headsets. So
Your VRs are right behind you, right?
yeah, for anybody listening, I got well, you can see the base station on the top, and then on the next shelf is the Quest 1, and then I got the Quest 2, and then on the ground, we'll just say it's on a shelf, is my Index.
Nice, nice.
And then hopefully soon the PlayStation VR 2. I'm excited about that because they have the best haptic feedback on the controllers. Beautiful. It's just so silly that you can have two different controllers and be like, damn, this just feels nice. For somehow, you don't think shaking in your controller could feel good and different,
It
but
still
like
does.
it's so you feel the power when you're pulling the trigger with the spring force when you're pulling it with each gun. They're like the trick. So I'm excited to have that in the handsets, and they're also putting the feedback apparently in the headset, which is super interesting to me. Like, how's that gonna work out?
I don't want to get a headshot in this stuff.
Like an actual, like, just knocks you out.
Yeah.
And it has eye tracking as well. So I think this new headset is going to be a big game changer too. I think it's going to really make people that have the Quest and maybe don't even have like a laptop or a computer, but they have the PlayStation 5. They're going to be like, well, I want a better experience. And Facebook can't offer that. So I think we're going to see a lot of people, that's going to be their upgrade. It's not getting a computer and a headset. It's going to be just, I've got a PlayStation 5, so I'm just going to get the headset.
The whole new culture is coming up, and if it is like in Ready Player One, I'm gonna be happy with it. But internet is dirty.
Yes.
People are weak. Like, I'm not saying like weak-minded, weak-willed. Will of people are weak. They cannot, like me, I am person, I am people. We cannot control our limbic system. And if VR gets too realistic, A lot of people can get trapped in VR.
So easily.
To be honest, how realistic is VR porn?
I feel like it will get to a sense of reality eventually.
Yes, yes, and this is like we are going somewhere. We are going somewhere, and culture of using those devices need to catch up
Yeah.
because new technologies are getting introduced on a super fast speed into our lives. We need to adjust our culture to deal with those. Because look, if a young kid with a developing brain sees all that stuff in virtual world where it's blinking, it's all shiny, all sexy, all bloody, all everything you can shoot, everything you can buy. How real will be reality for that person? How interesting will it be?
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, when you go into virtual reality and it's better than reality, and I've kind of thought that would be the case, but I've never thought about it growing up as a kid and just from day one growing up, you'd rather be in a headset than, especially if it's somewhat realistic too. And I've also even, and talking about the culture of it, I feel like we're in the Wild West times of VR right now because there's no way to have a blocking, right? I talked about this on the last podcast how right now we have the ability to, if you have a song, you can block the song, like YouTube, whatever, can flag the song. Images, those can get pretty much automatically blocked just through artificial intelligence doing image recognition. But with 3D models in 3D worlds, it's like completely different. There is no barriers, there's no protection, there's no nothing right now. How do you stop that?
We'll have to adjust.
Image recognition for models. And like you said, too, the rules. We don't have to get down this road, but I've even thought it would be interesting. Like, you almost might need a social security card for VR. Imagine you're running an Apple store and like 100 people just start to come in as like a joke and just start screaming slurs or something, like have crazy horrible models or zombies. It'd be nice if you could just block them all. And then guess what? They're flagged now. Now you're a Best Buy opening. Well, maybe you could put a flag warning on those accounts and be like, well, these accounts are flagged so they can't come in. And now people are acting more like humans they want to be respectful. They don't want to get kicked out of things.
It's gonna be a lot of mistakes are to be made, and we will have to learn on those mistakes. We don't know the exact structure of how people should communicate in VR. What should be the unspoken laws? We don't know yet. Only after the mistakes are made, we need to just pay attention and not do the same mistakes after.
One thing I liked about the Quest, I tried doing Horizon recently, the Horizon world. I did like how Horizon has a feature where it's like a shield feature, and right when you press it, it just puts you into a different world instantly, and all the characters, they become essentially like outlines. And so you can just like say for instance there's just like a lot of people playing music really loud, or there's horrible avatars running around. You just push a button and it just throws up this blocking shield of music, audio, and visuals, and you can click in people right there. So it's really easy, it's really calm, and then you can just block them or delete them, vote to kick them out or report them. I thought that was a really nice feature because it just gets you out of that scenario and literally as fast as you can click that button, which is kind of cool.
That can save some nerves.
Yeah, 100%. And I think having features like that makes people not want to be as annoying as much too.
I think it's a good thing that there will be a separation between hardcore PlayStation gamers and casual Facebook people when it comes to gaming, because you don't want to be locked inside of a game with people you don't want to be with.
Well, that's one thing I will say. I mean, I don't want to nerd out too much here, but with the metaverse, it's another reason why I kind of hate the word. I don't hate the word, but I just think the idea is a little different than what people are thinking. I feel like if you talk to an everyday user, it's, oh, well, a PlayStation user can interact with the Quest user and you can go from one universe to another universe. I really think that's like, you can't get Google apps on iPhone and you can't get iPhone apps on Google, like Amazon apps. You can't, these companies aren't just going to like become kumbaya and,
Yeah, yeah.
be like, oh, let's work in harmony together. It's just not.
Too ideal.
Yeah, it's getting, PlayStation's gonna get their exclusive titles. Quest's gonna obviously claim their titles, and I think there's gonna be a lot more separation than people think. And also, it's just hard to like do all of that programming for multiple game engines. Like,
Give me a good example of a shooter on a console and the PC. There's none, right?
it's so hard. Yeah, I mean, they barely. You have like Fortnite.
Halo, maybe.
Halo, yeah, and it's just so, we're not even close. Like these ideas, when Mark Zuckerberg showed those videos, I was like, we are 20 years away from this, 50 years. He pretty much just put player one in the DVD player, like in school, put it in and just walked out of the room and came back and was like, isn't that cool, guys? Invest in Facebook. Like, it's like,
Yeah, he literally did that.
we're so far from all of that happening, and it's just the most catchy thing on TikTok.
This is something valuable. Let's admit, we see future. We see to some degree how will it go. We can imagine it. And we still can be part of that future. Some valuable part of it. Not like the ones who created the world in Ready Player One, but close to that.
Oh yeah. If we are, our community is the ones that are building it, well, I think we're like one of the best communities in the world.
True.
The 3D people and MoGraph people, honestly, they're just the nicest, most helping people you'll ever meet. So that's one nice thing we can say about that. It's a little peace of mind, if you will.
Even though right now we live in the best possible time, even kings of the past lived not as good life as we live right now. Like regular person right now lives a greater life than anyone in the past.
The king still pooped in buckets.
True. And right now is the best time to live and look into a future, look into a ways which planet is going out of poverty. The future gonna be bright.
Yeah.
Like information brings awareness. In some time there will be no wars. I guarantee that. Like people will manage themselves.
I 100% agree. And this being one of the main reasons is the fact that I can speak with you across the flippin' world and we can have
True.
just amazing discussions about this. I want to ask you about another interesting thing in the future and or present, NFTs. What is your thought on that and what is your experience with it?
My experience with cryptocurrencies, I worked in 2 cryptocurrency startups. One didn't get through pre-ICO, one did get through ICO. And in a second one, we collected 800,000 USD.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's a great little start.
Yeah, it is. And our bosses just left with the money because it's unregulated.
Wow.
True. If it would be IPO, they would be in jail. But if it's ICO, they are walking around like they did nothing. And at that point, I kind of realized that cryptocurrencies is a wild west. It still need to be shaped up. It was about 5-6 years ago. Right now, it's not that chaotic. But still, to make money in the cryptocurrency field, you need to put in work. You need to pay attention to what's going on. You need to read the information from the market. You need to buy certain coins and sell them at a certain time. You need to withdraw your money through a different way to avoid taxation and so on. Like it is one hell of a job. And to do something with NFT, to be successful with NFT, you can't just draw a monkey. You need to put in work. So for me, I heard a lot of people saying me, hey, look, man, do NFT, do NFT. But when I wake up, I do my regular job. In the evening, I do my 3D plus sports. In the night, I do my business stuff, like I have some more business stuff to make different money. And looking at all this, NFT, it's more like a gamble to me.
That's fair. I mean, and we're such in the early development stages of it. It's absolutely a gamble. Some people can just say everything right about how it could go, but it's again how it could go. And as well, it could just be the biggest flop. I mean, the obvious could just be happen. The obvious can happen, but also the optimism of it is also very bright. It's going to be interesting. Who knows?
I very like the point of reselling, that if the NFT is resold, then artist is getting the percentage. That I like, because even if I sold my art for something, like even if kind of sold, even after that, if it's resold, I will still get my percentage. This is nice. This if you launch some successful projects, you can live from that. Even your kids can live from that. That's nice.
Yeah, having constant income while you sleep, money while you sleep, that's the best money.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I hope, again, this is like such player one ideas that you hear, but like you were just saying, you made a sword, right? It'd be cool if you could put buy for 1 penny, right? And so you see players are running around the world with swords.
With your sword.
Yeah, and then somebody else says, "Hey, can I get the sword?" And they just click on it. When they click on it, they just buy it for 1 penny, but that penny goes straight to you, or $1, right? And now,
Yes, yes, I enjoyed it so much.
yeah, and so now NFTs, you can just make stuff and throw them into the metaverse, and now the copying and pasting. But again, hypothetical.
If it happens.
Years down the line. Yeah, exactly. Right now, making a JPEG costs hundreds of dollars. So, like, it's a little ridiculous, but it's interesting. Well, man, this was a great time, man. I love talking about everything with you. This is one of my favorite questions. I haven't actually asked it in a while. For anybody new that's getting into the field, do you have any pocket advice that you would like to share?
It is sweeter after difficulties. Only after you gone through some hardships, you know that you are not made of glass. You know that you're worth something. You have to reevaluate yourself as a hardcore man who won't be broken, because who won't be broken, right? To get to places, you need to go down that road. To have something which no one has, you have to do something no one does. And it comes with a price. You have to be ready to pay the price. You have to be ready to show the world that you deserve your success. If not, like,
Dude, I love that. That is some amazing words right there. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any big things you want people to look out for or anything like that?
I just launched a YouTube. The channel is under construction, but I have a huge plans for my YouTube. It's called Reality is Not Enough. Follow me. If you have something, write me on kgolovko@gmail.com. This is my personal email. If you have some projects, if you want some collaborations, I can do a lot of work for free because I love it. Give me some of that sweet work.
Amazing, man. Well, dude, Konstantin, it was fantastic time talking with you.
I enjoyed talking to you.
It was a great time. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
Thank you, will be.